Hello there. A former judge of the European Court of Justice claims that the ECJ can strike down any Brexit deal between the UK and the EU. Whilst giving evidence to a Westminster cross-party committee overseeing Brexit, the former ECJ judge, Sir Konrad Schiemann, said that any deal could be subject to challenge in the ECJ on the basis of whether the parties involved actually have the power to come to such an agreement. Any agreement that is made between the EU and Parliament, he said, is subject to challenge in the European Court of Justice on the subject of powers of the parties who have made that agreement. The Commission and the people negotiating on behalf of the EU are faced with this problem. They can't just do what they think is good. They have to remain within their powers. Now, judging from his words, this means that the EU side can be challenged after the deal has been signed. But remember that the ECJ would only be involved if an action was brought in that court. It does not become involved automatically. It cannot just step in. So who would bring that action, and would it need to be brought before the courts prior to Brexit Day? And remember that Brexit Day is either the day the agreement comes into force, or 2 years after submitting Article 50 to the European Council, whichever is earlier. Unless, of course, the UK and all the other 27 remaining EU states agree unanimously to extend the negotiating process. How long would that take to organise through each member state's legislative process? Probably longer than the remaining months until March 2019. From the UK perspective, as we are leaving, this really isn't much of a direct threat as far as I can tell. Basically because any legal ruling that struck down a deal would presumably turn it into a no deal, with the clock still running to March 2019 Brexit Day. But let's look at it from an EU perspective. Say you were a German car maker or one of its employees, and the EU decided to negotiate on the political basis of punishing the UK, which then leads to a no deal where the car maker and its employees suffer financially. Wouldn't you want the narrow, politically motivated EU to take the financial hit for that decision? Wouldn't you be tempted to look at taking them to court for it under EU law? Anyway, all this says to me is that this is yet more evidence that trying to strike a deal before Brexit Day will be a waste of time. Tory MPs have also claimed that the EU Commission is engaged in a propaganda war by claiming that the UK side was either unready for talks or absent, when in fact they were ready for action, says the Telegraph. On a more positive note though, the chairman of RBS, Howard Davis, predicts that member states and businesses will soon be getting worried about the prospects of a no-deal Brexit and will start putting pressure on the Commission to commence trade talks. Speaking on Bloomberg, he said, "I think that what's going to happen is that the next summit will say, well, you know, nice try, but not there. And then I think there will be a process with the national governments to see if some momentum for these talks can be delivered. Because I think some of the others can see that allowing this game to continue week by week in Brussels is really not very constructive. So I'm not too pessimistic about where we are." Well, what do you think? Please leave a comment below. Thank you. Please do like and share this video. And also subscribe to my channel. And when subscribing, please do remember to press on the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an alert every single time I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching.